So I'm Coach Lee Tonks. I started boxing when I was 4 years old. As soon as I could walk, I had gloves. I had two brothers. We grew up on a council estate in London. Council estate is the equivalent of projects. It's basically government subsidised housing. Mother and father both ex-convicts. I used boxing as a way to get me out and basically move me on to different places. It gave me a discipline that helped me throughout my entire life. I fought in Britain at 11 years old. I had my first fight, because that's the age you're allowed to have your first fight in England. In total, I had about 110 fights. I sort of lost track after about 100. I fought amateur in Britain. I fought amateur in the US, in Las Vegas, out at Pat Barry's and Howe's Boxing. Went into the Golden Gloves. And then I turned pro in the Terry Norris camp in San Diego. Went and lived up there with Rodney Toney, the #1 middleweight in the world, Terry Norris, Orlin Norris, Michael Nunn was up there, Ricky Quiles. It was right when Oscar De La Hoya turned pro. We'd all work out the same club up there or down at Spud Murphy's. As a pro, I had 8 fights. I won 6. I had 2 knockouts. 2 that I lost on split decisions. I fought Mark Lewis, your 3-time national champion, up in Sacramento. In my last fight, I got a really bad gash over my eye. I had Pat Goosen in the corner. I was at Hollywood Palladium. I took a headbutt in the first, came back at the end of the round, and the referee said to me, or looked at my eye and went, I say, what the hell was that? And then Pat Goosen looked at me and he went, I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with my head? And the referee came over and the doctor came out and he said, look, we've got to stop the fight. And I said, yeah, well, come on, man. I've already dropped the guy in the first round. Give me 30 seconds. Plug it. Give me 30 seconds. I'll go out and I'll knock him out. So I went out. They agreed. They plugged it. I went out. They let me go another 1 round. I knocked him out in the 3rd round. And that was my last fight because the shady side of boxing reared its ugly head. And it became very apparent to me that boxing was no longer going to be safe for me. So I moved on, started the business, and since then I've made hundreds of millions of dollars in my business. When I stepped out of boxing world, I just washed my hands of it. I didn't go anywhere near it for about 20 years. And then recently I got brought back into sweet science, and it was almost like I was relearning all of the fighters that are out there now. And as I look at the fighters that are out there today, world champions, the quality of boxing has taken a nosedive. The biggest problem I see that most fighters need to work on is footwork. You'll see a lot of fighters, Deontay Wilder, Garcia, look at their feet, it's horrendous. Your front foot is pointing this way and the back foot is perpendicular to that foot. You can't get maximum power out of your back foot unless you get a pivot. There's so many fighters that I see that are fighting this way, it's awful. Then there's things like, and I'm not picking on Garcia, he's with Joe and Joe's a good friend of mine, so no offense to Garcia. But if you look at when he fought that English kid, the Southpaw, not once was he told, and he wasn't being trained by Joe at the time, you're fighting a Southpaw, get your left foot on the outside of his foot. Whoever has their foot on the outside in a fight between a Southpaw and an Orthodox has pole position. And the reason is really simple. As I step out like that, and you're on this side, so my foot's on the outside, my right hand is dead in line for your chin. Your right hand is here. So it's like, there's a greater chance of you walking straight onto me. And if you look at Garcia when he fought that Southpaw from England, he got dropped. The other thing is, everyone wants to be Mayweather. Now Mayweather's a 1 in a million. He can keep his guard down here like this and rely solely on his reactions because he's gifted. But if you look at every single fighter tries to emulate him these days by going like this, keeping their guard down like that. Look at Garcia when Garcia fought, I can't remember which guy it was, I think it was a Southpaw as well. He got dropped. This is like Russian roulette. Sooner or later you're going to get clipped. Unless you've got Mayweather reactions, you're going to get clipped and you're probably going to go down. You've got 2 arms, man, use them. They're here. Think about Julio Cesar Chavez or El Flaco Explosivo. Boom, boom. Like, keep your guard up. You've got it there for a reason. So defense, guard, and footwork are the key things that I see. Not pivoting with your back foot and turning your hips into a shot. These are all key things that so many fighters out there now just do not have. You want to see great fighters with great footwork, great positioning. Look at Shane Mosley. Study that man's feet. He's absolutely perfect. When his gait, when he pivots, everything about him is perfect. If you want to see an artist who took that and went in a different direction, look at Lomachenko. You don't see Lomachenko going like this and throwing a punch with his foot dragging around. The guy's like a dancer, you know what I mean? He's like everywhere. Pay attention to your footwork and, for God's sake, put your guard up, man. Yeah, so I would say this. Look, boxing is a great sport. Now, boxing, from my perspective, is a poor man's sport. And the reason is, if you've got half a brain or you've got some other way to get out of the hood or do something, you're going to do it. If you can dance, if you can run, if you can be good at math, go and do that, because this is a tough life. But if you come to the conclusion this is pretty much your shot, then this is a great way to do it, because it teaches you so much about life, not just about everything that happens in the ring, having to dig deep, having to get up off the canvas. And I've done it. Having to get up off the canvas and fight. Having to be in a fight and get concussed and hear everything go silent and realize time's moving slow, and just be able to tell yourself, don't worry, it'll come back. And then boom, everything comes back alive. This is a fight that, if you learn this fight, it'll carry you through life. There are lessons to be learned in this gym that will teach you the rudimentary basics of life that will help you succeed.